Whiskey drinkers are like kids at Christmas. We get excited when we get to open up a brand new toy, aka whiskey. We get excited about what it's going to look like, what it's going to taste like, and more importantly, we're not going to share it with our little brother or little sister. We might be the first kid on the block to actually have it, and we have bragging rights. If we're not the first kid on the block, then we're just like the other kids, and we add it to our collection of whiskeys that are on the shelf, and those whiskeys become like baseball trading cards. It's the got it, need it, got it, need it, got it. And tonight we got it. We got a new one on the block right here in Columbus, Ohio. Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. And soon we'll be joined by Joe Bidinger, Nikhil Sharoff, and Derek Reno, all from Echo Spirits, as they are debuting and releasing a new Echo Spirits Straight Rye Whiskey. We'll find out how they got there with it and everything else that might be involved with said whiskey. So we're very excited about having some of Columbus's own right here on the podcast, as we like to support everybody. Also, for those of you who tuned in right from the beginning, every once in a while, I like to remind everybody that that nice little piece of music that goes along with the great opening from John Whitney comes from our good friend, Mr. Dave Powers, hanging at the lounge. So thank you once again, Mr. Dave Powers, for making us cooler and hipper than we truly are. So let's get to the other hipsters of this podcast. Greg Hansberry on the audio side, and of course the incomparable John Whitney on the video side. And gentlemen, nice to see you. Nice to
Hello.
see you. Hansberry, get to the business first, and then I'll tell you how things are down here, because I am broadcasting once again remotely from hot as hell Tampa, Florida. It's 8:03 and it's still 90 degrees here in Tampa, Florida. And I understand in Columbus it's pleasant. It's very pleasant.
It's perfect. Today was literally the perfect weather day. I think so.
Perfect weather day.
It really was.
Suck it.
But yeah.
Very nice.
Enjoy Mother. Thanks for checking out Whiskey Biz. Hey, there I am.
There you
Subscribe
are.
and review on your favorite podcasting app. And plus, you can hear hundreds of our award-winning archived episodes at whiskeybusinesspod.com or on your favorite podcasting app. We're on Insta, Twitter. If you are watching us live on Facebook or YouTube right now, thank you very much. If you haven't already subscribed or liked us, go ahead and do that right now, too. Now, I know Dino's going to get into this, but we are going to actually be tasting tonight's guest bottle, and we're going to be doing a live virtual tasting. So if you're watching right now, you can taste along, or you can go buy a bottle at your favorite bottle shop in town, Echo, and then come back and watch it again, and then you can taste it along with us. So that's kind of what the vibe is for the tasting thing tonight. Other than that, can't wait to hear about Mom.
This is 2 weeks in a row, I might add, there's 2 weeks in a row that I am not part of the tasting of the whiskey. Last week with Buster Douglas's 42 and 1, you guys had it, I didn't. Tonight, Echo Spirits Straight Rye Whiskey. I'm without it down here in Florida, but I am here with Mom in Florida for I think this is week number 4. For those of you who don't know, my mother had some hip surgery, and I've been down here helping her recuperate and get back into the swing of things. And I've not lived with my mother for an entire month since I was 18 years of age. And and she's behind me. She's right behind me. She can hear everything I'm saying. Last week when we had the Buster Douglas podcast, she went into her bedroom, but I told her tonight she could hang out in her favorite recliner. She's currently watching. What are you watching? You're watching the BBC. She's showing off. Normally, it's either Turner Classic Movies or the Hallmark Channel.
What's going on in the world?
The Hallmark Channel.
There's a lot going on in the world.
There's a lot going on in the world. You can hear her. You can actually hear her.
Yes, we can hear her.
You can hear her. Says there's a lot going on in the world. Yeah, normally it's the Hallmark Channel. What's the matter? No Cedar Cove?
They're all repeats. quiet.
Well,
I'll repeat.
be quiet.
Christmas in July is over. Come on,
Christmas,
Dino.
yeah. I tell you what, man, you get hooked into that shit. I watched so many Christmas movies with my mother while I was here on the Hallmark Channel, and then you know what they do? You know what those bastards do? They have Christmas in July, and you get caught up in all the holiday spirit, and then after July is over, they cut you off. That's it. You get no more Christmas movies until Christmas, bastards.
It's like December 26th. Just boom. You're
It's
done.
over.
Get out of here.
It's over. But in respect, what's that, Ma?
Yeah, but then why the country's in crisis?
Oh, why the country's in crisis? She's
That's
actually
good.
reading.
Maybe we can follow up on this.
Reading along with
Politics with Mom.
whatever what they're doing.
Right.
In respects to being here with Mom, I have to quote Anthony Perkins from the movie Psycho. You know, they say a boy's best friend is his mother. She's laughing. It's not that funny.
It's funny.
Consider the source.
Anyway, so yeah, she'll be listening in, and she can't hear you guys. She can only hear me. So if you hear any comments from the peanut gallery, it's just her commenting on whatever I might say this evening on the podcast. So let's get to it, shall we? We are very thrilled to welcome from Echo Spirits, Joe Bidinger, Nikhil Sharoff, and Derek Reno, beverage director over at Echo Spirits. First of all, gentlemen, congratulations. Congratulations on the new release of the Straight Rye Whiskey, coming from boys who started with rum and now have gone into some rye whiskey and some other things as well. And also, I want to apologize. I said I would do it on the podcast for taking so long to get to you guys. We kept talking about having you on the podcast and doing this and the other thing and talking about what you were doing. But you know what? Maybe the delay was a good thing, because now we're actually talking about a straight rye whiskey on Whiskey Business.
Now is the perfect time to talk about whiskey on the Whiskey Business.
Right. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. So 2 years in the making, right? I mean, 2
years in the making, just a little over 2 years old.
It's and Hansberry and Whitney have already sampled it, and they say that it is very, very good. Yeah, thumbs up. Hansberry doesn't have much left of his, actually. When I look at it,
I poured a bunch of it to John. And all right,
Didn't we just give that to you last night? You're almost done. That's good.
Well, and I was going to say, look, Dino, I felt really bad for you. I got a little bit of a pour for you.
Oh man, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that it'll last through, the 2 weeks while you're gone.
No, it'll be a nice homecoming to come back to something homegrown and made. A 2 year, a young rye, but everything seems to be on track with it. 93 proof. So, what made you switch from what you were doing with the rum and go into a rye whiskey and not so much a bourbon like everybody else? You didn't follow the bourbon trail per se. Why rye?
Sure. So a lot of the story of Echo Spirits is talking about the history of spirits and talking about kind of the story behind them and why they're interesting. Not the bourbon's not interesting for certain. But we started out with rum, and a lot of the reason to start with rum was because it was a very popular pre-prohibition and particularly colonial spirit. If you remember the Sugar and Molasses Act from school, that a lot of that was about rum. And rye whiskey also, rye before prohibition, rye was the whiskey. If you ordered a whiskey, that's what you got. And a lot of the classic American cocktails that use whiskey were made with rye whiskey. We came out of prohibition, and that's when we started drinking more bourbon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I'm a huge fan of rye, and I've had sometimes it's been challenging with novice whiskey drinkers to get them to switch over and try some rye, because my brother-in-law being one of them, but he's come around. So I'm very excited that you got the rye whiskey in the mix. You started with rum, and it's interesting. Your rum, you mentioned the molasses and sugar act, because your rum has molasses and sugar. Most rums go one way or the other, and you guys opted for both.
Yeah, most rums go, entirely one direction or the other. And we said, you know what, I think there's some positive qualities to be had from both sides of the issue. So let's mix the two together and work from there. And we, found a blend that we really liked and went with it.
Most distilleries, when they open up, I mean, they start making vodkas and whatnot. And you guys went with rum. Rum pretty much opened up the doors and paid the bills in the beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah, places make vodka and whiskey because, particularly in Ohio, grain is readily available, and we want to support our local farmers. And we're doing that with our rye whiskey and with some of our other products coming up. But rum, we looked kind of around the landscape, particularly in Columbus, but among all craft distilleries, and we said, well, there's not a lot of rum, but that's a very popular spirit that people knew. Started making it, started liking it, digging into it, and kind of fell in love with it almost accidentally. But it turned out to be a good decision for us.
Yeah, and that's what you decided to go with when you guys hooked up together. I know that Derek is going to take us through a little bit of a tasting of the rye here in a little bit. But for those of you people who just tuned in, my brother-in-law is watching. He said, "Novice, really? I didn't call you a novice, brother-in-law." I said, "He's so sensitive. He's so sensitive." Anyway, what I wanted to ask was that you two, Joe and Nikhil, have known each other for quite some time. You guys are Bishop Watterson boys.
We are, yeah. We met in high school. I think freshman year of high school, pickup basketball game, right. Which I did not win. Yeah, kind of been friends ever since. Yeah, rematch scheduled someday. Starting to get up in age a little bit. My knee might conveniently go out. But yeah, we met in high school. We're friends all through high school, all through college, and after college, we went our separate ways and came back together and said, hey, let's. We started getting into home brewing together, and kind of as things happen, we, wound up going the distillery route instead, but, stuck together through it.
Yeah. What years were you at Watterson? I'm just curious because there's a reason I ask. There's a reason I ask.
You live right there, don't you?
Yeah.
In that area somewhere. I mean,
what year did you graduate from Watterson?
Yeah, 2004, 2000 to 2004.
Yeah. Okay. I moved into my house in the year 2000. I am literally right across the street from what used to be the tennis courts over there.
Yeah.
A parking lot.
Tennis court for
so while you two were playing pickup basketball and having dreams of making craft beer and whatnot, I was the grumpy old man that lived across the street right from you guys. And I'm curious if ever over the course of those 4 years you were in high school, was there any talk about that particular house?
Crazy old man.
Well, there was that guy. He always worked those really weird early hours, right. And then he's showing up in the middle of the afternoon like he didn't have a job and just sitting
on the porch staring at the tennis court.
Right?
Yeah. There's probably a handful of times where I said I know that I said over the course of those years and all the years that have followed, where I said those damn Bishop Watterson kids, because I have a bar in the backyard, and every once in a while I would go back there and I would see that some things were missing. Some beers had been
drank. Yeah.
And one time I actually found an empty can of beer on the bar, and somebody left $1.
Oh, that was nice. That was nice.
Was it really nice? $1 beer, or do they owe you extra?
No, they had to. That's it
doesn't have
and a High Life PBR. So I didn't care about the money.
He drinks the High Life that are like this big, like the miniature glass High Life. That's what Dino drinks, and they're awesome. They hit the spot. I love them.
So now that you guys are adults and have your distillery, in high school, were you drinkers in high school? Were you bad boys?
I was not.
I was not at all, actually.
Yeah, no, not till college. And but even once we got to college, pretty much, pretty quickly made the transition toward, hey, this is kind of a hobby. This is kind of fun, a college hobby about drinking. But started going for the good stuff and getting into, hey, Rudy, getting into, better and better stuff over time pretty quickly.
And Derek, how did you get in the mix?
I've been doing this kind of stuff in the industry, craft cocktail related, and running a craft cocktail consultancy and event company for 6 years. And I've always been an admirer of makers, like people really real deal making stuff, and this industry stuff specifically. And the end of last year, I'd say it started my good buddy Gary White, which owns Denmark on High. I think kind of one of our all co-favorite craft cocktail bars in the city, sent me a link that they had put out that they were looking for someone for something like this. And it was kind of instant. I didn't know that I would get it, but I knew that it was the kind of job I was looking for and had been kind of building up to, and started this December of last year.
Cool. Excellent. And what's the status on the bar, the actual bar for Echo
The
Spirits?
bar at Echo Spirits, right? So this was one of those unfortunate COVID impacts. We thought we were about a month away from opening when they started shutting down all the bars. We had the menu planned out. It was all ready to go. Everything in the space was good. Just kind of in the meantime, everything is moving slowly right now at the government level, city level, everything. So we're it's been slow. We're shooting for this fall sometime when we get everything done.
Yeah, we were operating 2 weeks maybe in our minds to be ready to open at that time. It might have been 3. Didn't take, but it felt imminent.
It's crazy. I know COVID's affected everybody and everybody that we've talked to in this industry as well. Anything that's related to we've been doing things remotely. We're doing this one remotely because I'm in Florida, but we only had a couple of podcasts actually recently where we actually got people together, and even then we did it outside because we were reluctant about still being inside. And how has that affected your business overall? I mean, what have you done to keep moving forward and not lose focus of the dream?
Absolutely. So it's been kind of world changing, and I think the word we've all heard over and over again is pivot. For a small distillery, the vast majority of our customers actually wind up being bars and restaurants just because they move through such high volume of drinks on a given night. We've had to kind of shift that, especially when everyone was shut down, and really focus on the individual level and get people engaged. Get people into our shop, into the liquor stores, try stuff out. And then sanitizer was a big deal for us, kind of changing the whole business plan. We stopped making rum and started pumping out sanitizer, pretty much as quickly as we could. We went from the shutdown and a little bit of, uncertainty over what the next steps were, but within 7 to 10 days we were pumping out sanitizer out the door.
Boom, and there you go. And a lot of people followed suit and did that, and it's been good for everybody, because in the beginning, sanitizer was, I can't find it. It was, remember the good old days? Remember the good old days when the worst thing you worried about was finding toilet paper and finding toilet paper? Yeah, remember that was the big thing. Oh man, I can't find toilet paper. To harken back to the days.
I just picked up the fraternity pack. It must have had 24 of them. It's huge.
Explain the t-shirt.
Wait, can you still get the sanitizer? Are you guys still selling the sanitizer at your bottle shop?
Sanitizer. The downside of it, the good side is that the major companies have started, producing more, getting it out to the hospitals and the people who really need it. The downside of that means that a lot of individual consumers have kind of turned away from some of the locally produced stuff for the stuff you can get when you're already at Target and other stuff. Yeah. So we have a ton of hand sanitizer left, always available for sale. I don't think we're going to run out before the end of the calendar year, most likely.
I want to get one. It's my goal to keep one from everybody and keep it unopened. And then I'll have like you guys, Watershed. I've got High Bank right here.
Hey, Joe. Who's Megan Bidinger?
That's my wife. Why?
Hey.
She says in the comment section, so much sanitizer.
So much, hundreds of gallons of sanitizer.
She was involved.
When you get back from Florida, where there's lots of COVID, I hear we have hundreds of gallons of sanitizer. You can come bathe in it if you
take advantage.
I bet.
Yeah, it's been crazy down here. It's a whole different world as far as how people respect and react to COVID. But I'm in a somewhat of a semi-retirement type of community, so everybody around here has been pretty good with masking up, et cetera, et cetera. Back up a little bit, both of you. I want to see your t-shirts. Explain your t-shirts. Know your distiller. Explain that.
So that's kind of our tagline we've been going with. A lot of like I said, a lot of the concept of Echo Spirits is to talk about history, both of the spirits, but also to kind of start to continue the conversation of how businesses are run. We've all heard the the shop local or buy local kind of movements. This is very much a continuation of that. There was a time and age when it says on the screen, when you knew the people who made the products that you were buying. You didn't go to some supermarket. You went to a produce store and a bakery and a butcher, and you knew all these people, and there were people in your community, and all that money was cycling right back into your community and producing jobs and creating value there. And at some point, there's definitely benefits to, economies of scale and things like that. But we started moving toward, not to badmouth names, but, Targets and Walmarts and these other things where you can go get everything at once, and you don't really know where the products are coming from or where they're going to or how many people are employed, where the money winds up. So a lot of it is just know your distiller. It's bring it back, know the people who are making the products you're buying.
All right. Well, we know our distiller. Let's get to the star of the show. Not that you guys aren't, but the Echo Spirits Straight Rye Whiskey. And let's talk to Derek for a second as he takes us through a little bit of a virtual tasting here. Derek, what are we looking at as far as nose and palate? And once again, for those whiskey enthusiasts who like a little detail, can you tell us a little bit about? Or any of you, what the rye consists of? What are we looking at ingredient wise? What's the mash bill on this?
The mash bill is 95% rye, 5% corn. Comes out a little bit over 93 proof, which I think you mentioned earlier. All made here by these two gentlemen as well. And it's been kind of fun I think we already mentioned earlier that today is the release date of this, which has been extremely exciting. And thanks to anyone watching from the community that came out today, because it was a lot. And so most of the tasting notes and the nose, as well as the flavor profiles, they're kind of forced, like it's something new that you're tasting and going through, and like you're making yourself pull out tasting notes. I've been happy. I think that a lot of the ones that were in that kind of not forced, but that immediate sort of way have been proven true. But the last few days, it's becoming like a liquid thing. I mean, no pun intended. It's like a rotating thing where I'm starting to be able to pull out more things, and it's not a forced reaction. But a lot of the early ones have been true. I think in the nose, I still get, and I increasingly get a lot of sharp bakery qualities to it. It'd be interesting to pick a different one, but I think cinnamon really stands out. Honeysuckle is one of the kind of early noses, and definitely a tasting note that I catch at the front on the mouth, not on the nose. And then once you get into it a little bit further, I think it starts out, and we've asked a lot of the guests, and it seems to have been confirmed that there's a smoothness, there's a toffee aspect to it, almost like a caramelized toffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say caramel. It's very nice.
It reminds me of cinnamon sugar, like when you put it on toast in the morning.
Yeah, and we had some bouquets last night during another session that we had, and I was able with the sweet vermouth and some of the residual sugars pull out a lot more of those kind of like sharp bakery qualities that I had not noticed before as much. I think in the middle you get the big one that they keep teasing me about, but pink peppercorn specifically, not just pepper, not just spice, but
Peppercorn,
which has both a kind of consistency to it that relates to this, almost like it pops in the way popcorn does, but it spices in the way that like fresh ground black pepper does, and it also has this kind of bright tropical note to it, kind of vague tropical fruit notes, but definitely banana, melon, a little bit of mango. I think just kind of vaguely there, and then
Dino, you're salivating. I see that.
Well, I'm curious. I'm listening to Derek, and I'm looking at Joe in the keel. Did you guys have any idea that you did all that?
I know. I mostly had to ask Derek. I pretty much knew that I liked it.
Why do I like it?
And that's one of the many reasons why we have him around here, is to do things like that. Yeah, I mean, we kind of sought out to make a very traditional rye whiskey, not anything too experimental, anything crazy like that. Take a classic rye whiskey style and just make a really good version of it. And I think we did that.
Yeah, they did.
I think it's nice because when it hits your tongue, it just it's got a viscosity to it, so it kind of sticks to your tongue a little bit. Right, you can feel that sweetness right there, and it's really
I was
nice.
going to say maple syrup, Johnny, and maybe because of the same kind of thing.
Really nice.
When you take a sip and kind of breathe out through your nose, a big hit of licorice, like a black licorice.
Wow, Hansberry. When you take a break and breathe out through your nose,
Look at that.
boy,
You are proud.
He's come so far. He really has.
Mic drop. I'm done for the night.
Wow, he did that all on his own. I just got it.
Yeah.
Very good.
I noticed that when the bar is going to be up and running, that you've already have a menu of cocktails ready to go for this straight rye whiskey that are up and running. And I was looking through them, and now I'm a very, the reason I really appreciate your whole theory and your attachment to tradition and history is because when it comes to my liquor, I basically like my booze either on the rocks or neat, or if there's going to be anything added to it, let it be on a very minimal basis. I'm not a big craft cocktail guy. While I can appreciate everything that goes into it, I said I'm not a craft cocktail guy, Mom. I'm not a cocktail guy. She balked when I said not a cocktail guy. Listen to everything that I say, not just half of it. Anyway, but the one that I like the best that would appeal to me would be the Echo Rye Ball. Where is it? There's the Warhammer. There it is. Echo Rye Ball. Boom. Boom. 2 ounces of Echo Spirits Rye Whiskey, 6 ounces of ginger ale. The only thing, gentlemen, that I would change in that would be 6 ounces of rye whiskey and 2 ounces of ginger ale
And a cigarette.
Yeah, then it could be the Echo put my rye ball out.
I mean, I think that's the beauty of the cocktail lineup that we kind of came up with for the website was, you can be complicated, but it doesn't have to be. It can be simple. It doesn't. When we were working with our rum originally, we tried it with all sorts of things. And what we found out worked with it really well was just coffee, pouring it in coffee.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be this complicated thing, and we can leave the magic to the Derricks of the world.
Right.
I'll have to try that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it feels very dangerous, that drink.
All these amazing, and like I said, I have respect for the craft cocktail world. It's just not my particular thing. And some people say, "Oh, it's because you don't drink enough of them." Well, maybe that's true as well. But end of the day, when I want to come home and have a drink, personally, I'm not going to take the time to make sure I have the right bitters and then the right accoutrements. I'm just going to want to pour my goddamn whiskey into a glass and enjoy what you guys put into the bottle is good enough for me. And that
drink what you like the way you like drinking it.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. So moving forward, rye whiskey.
Hold on, let me ask a flavor question.
Sure.
This is where I'm going to sound dumb, but I think there's a
funkiness.
Well, there's a funkiness to this rye, and I mean that as a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know if that's just me or if that's like
you need to wash your glasses better.
I don't. Does that like make a? Is that real or is that just me?
Now, when Greg says funkiness, that's what he likes. That's his.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I'm saying I like it.
It's a good thing. Often,
yeah, it's a good thing.
Funky's kind of generally a bad thing in beer. Very good thing in spirits. It's
Good thing in music.
Well, and because it also reminds me of like I've had some rum samplings with Chad White, and those are real funky, and that's where I get that term from.
Yeah, exactly. So, absolutely, and a lot of that comes from just the the fermentation and distillation process. You get, again, comparing it to beer. In beer, if you had a batch of something that's fermenting and it spoils, right? It starts growing bacteria or something on top of it. That's a very bad thing, right? But in distilling, that often creates a lot of wonderful, interesting flavors that then we can use the still to separate and blend together and kind of make a really unique, interesting product. So sometimes we're intentionally looking for that. And often the more sour or funky a fermentation is, the more excited we are to distill it because it's going to come out with something really interesting.
Let me ask Nikhil a question, because you've been so quiet through this entire podcast. Yeah. Why do I feel that the guy that hasn't said hardly a word throughout the entire thing might be largely responsible for what we've got in front of us? Is that true or false?
Well, I mean, no, it's definitely a collaboration between me and Joe, but I guess I've been on the still a lot more.
Nikhil's taken on a lot of the role of kind of the lead distiller around here. We kind of came into the business not knowing exactly what each of us were going to be really good at, and Nikhil has kind of excelled at the distilling side.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely all a collaboration. Like, we worked on all of them, we taste through all of them, and we kind of try to, pick out what we like.
Maybe chemistry was a good thing for you in high school. Chemistry,
I was pretty good with chemistry.
There you go.
I'm working as an engineer right now, part time. So, full time,
two full time jobs. Yeah,
yeah. So.
Nice.
Do you guys agree most of the time? Do you what I mean, as far when you're putting things together, when you're creating your magic down there at Echo? I mean, are there ever clashes in respects to taste and what you're doing? And if so, how do you resolve them?
Derek agrees with everything we say, which is good for him.
No, we definitely have clashes.
We clash.
For the most part, it usually comes down to some sort of middle ground. I mean, we usually get, if you get something that has too much spice or something that has some weird flavor to it, we kind of blend them together. We can do something in between. We can go back and distill it again and get something that's halfway between the two different points. We'll work that out. But yeah, there's a bunch of times where we're both.
I think there's clashing, but I think that's where our kind of long-standing relationship comes into play. That we know how to deal with that with each other, and we know how to argue and not take it personally, and that it's for the the good of the product. That we're trying to make something better for it, and that it's really just showing that we're both passionate about it.
Well, I like the fact that you guys are taking steps and experimenting. Like, for example, with the rum, you went with both molasses and sugar instead of just choosing one. Your very gin-like product, Jennifer. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Jennifer,
yep.
Gin-like, but has a little whiskey-like quality to it as well.
Absolutely.
What if it's gin-like and it's not whiskey? What exactly is it?
That's kind of the $1 million question, isn't it? Right. So right now we are kind of still under development of this, and we're kind of basing it on products we've tasted. It's mostly a European spirit, and we're kind of reverse engineering from the available options out there to taste and go with it. The kind of history of it is before, we've all heard of maybe pot stills and column stills. Well, before there were column stills, which was what you could use to make vodka and therefore gin off of the vodka. Everything was kind of that flavor forward component, right? Everything was kind of whiskey like or rum like, or it's coming off the still at a lower proof, if you know the difference there. And at the time, medicine and spirits, what time to be alive, were also very intertwined with each other. So both in order to try to pull some of the medicinal potential qualities from these herbs and spices, and combine them, and also cover up the taste of maybe some less than efficient distillate. We kind of came up with whiskey.
I'm just waiting. I'm sorry. I'm just waiting for Dino to pounce on this. You're talking about medicinal use of alcohol.
I know. I kind of paused and like, I know. We'll write you a prescription.
For medicinal purposes only, of course.
Well, I'm looking at the name of it. I'm like, where'd they get the name? Like, I look at Jennifer, and I think, okay, gin. Then I think Genesee beer, and then I think Everclear alcohol. Just Everclear, which sure. I'm sure you guys being good Catholic Bishop Watterson boys probably never had a Hairy Buffalo party.
Yeah.
Where you needed some Everclear.
Go Eagles! Yeah.
But yeah, so before
You
there was
you can't get Everclear in Ohio. You have to get it out of state. They don't sell Everclear.
Go out of state to get it. So that was convenient in college. Nikhil went down to Cincinnati. I was still at Ohio State, so he could just run right across the river and bring some back up to us.
Go Bearcats!
Nice, very nice. So, rum, obviously the bread and butter out of the gate. You got these new products. You got the Straight Rye Whiskey. Are you going to eventually try to make a bourbon before it's all said and done?
I think so. I don't know if it'll be something that's a regular product of ours. Maybe we'll see. It's definitely kind of a personal pet project of mine, probably to set aside at least a barrel at some point just to see where it goes. But it's also one of those, there's, a few other bourbons in Columbus, and there's so many good bourbons out there that trying to dethrone any of them, I suppose, is a bit intimidating. So I don't know if it'll happen anytime soon, but I'm sure that in the long run we'll at least have to play with it.
That's why I love the rum. There's not a local rum that I know of besides you guys, and the rye. I mean, you're trying to find these niches that aren't being populated by some of your founding father distillers.
And that's when we kind of set out to make this business, and we were looking at what's out there. We said, why am I going to make another vodka, another gin, another wheat whiskey? These things, they're all great. They're wonderful. They're out there. I'm not poo-pooing on them. Certainly they're great, but why am I going to go try to compete with them when there's other untapped potential out there of stuff I like just as much,
Yeah. What's not being served or serviced properly or, effectively, and definitely a straight rye whiskey out of the gate is kind of fun and different. We're gonna wrap things up. We're gonna wrap things up here in just a little bit. I want to remind everybody that Echo Spirits is located on 985 West 6th Street, and you can go down there and pick up your products right at the bottle shop. Right? You can go down there.
Available here.
Right, and the straight rye whiskey
is only available here right now.
Right, it's only available there. That's the only place it's available. Can we look forward to it being available other than?
Yeah, we've got a couple options. Long term, yes, we will put it out in the liquor stores, and I would imagine that'll happen in the next couple months. There's just some kind of processes we have to go through to stay able to make that happen. But all this week in particular, we've got to celebrate our rye whiskey release. We've got 3 bars around town, 3 restaurants around town who are serving cocktails made with our rye whiskey to kind of highlight it and do a special release. Just because our bar's not open, because we can't have big gatherings, that kind of thing. We can't have that launch party we always wanted. So they really stepped up and kind of did something special for us. So those are Sidebar Columbus, Natalie's Grandview, and Rye River Social.
Nice. You're getting a little difficult to hear. I don't know. We're losing a little
maybe
something
lean in when you talk, maybe
on the technical side of things. But we also Whiskey Business wants to actually come down to Echo for the next time around, and I told Hansberry and Whitney that depending on how this went, maybe when we go down there, we'll do it behind the bottle, or we'll do another podcast and just see how exactly everything is done and made. So I want to thank you guys for it. While you're all here, let's take a quick opportunity to answer and look at some of the comments along the line. The Echo Boys, High Banks loves you. That comes from our pal Rudy. And that's what I like. That's one thing I do like about this community, as far as the community in Ohio and in Columbus, especially. Even though there's healthy competition, there's a spirit of camaraderie where everybody tries to help the other person out as best they can. So while you're all competing and saying, buy our product, there's no, it's all love, and I think that's
the High Bank guys were one of the first places to put us on the shelf there. I mean, it's all love around here.
What are you going to retail the bottle for? I'm just asking. I didn't.
Oh yeah, we didn't ask that. Good question, John.
The retail the rum is $29.95 and the rye whiskey is $42.
That's in our wheelhouse.
That's in our wheelhouse.
We say under $50
for sure. Once again,
worth it. It's great.
If my brother-in-law is still listening, I didn't call you a novice. You are not a novice, because I am actually going to see him tomorrow. But he was not a big rye fan initially. Was what I was trying to say when we were drinking whiskeys, and now since then, he's actually found a few ryes that he really likes. So he just listened to half of what I said, much like My mother back behind me.
I told him to send you home with some good whiskey. He needs to send you home with some good juice from Florida.
Yeah, I found a couple of bottles down here. Some things that I haven't seen a bit. I'm in Tampa. I'm in hell is where I'm at. I'm in hell. They call it Tampa,
and there's not even a hurricane on that side.
It's really hell. I'm pretty sure I'm in hell. Yeah,
but St. Augustine Distillery, they're really good. They've got a bourbon.
Yeah. They got a bourbon down there. I haven't really ventured very far from where I'm at. Rudy says the rum is a steal. Yeah, anything under $30 is a steal for sure, and tasty to boot. So
Rudy also asked, Joe, you're kind of cutting out when you were giving those details.
Natalie's Grandview Sidebar, which is downtown Columbus, and Rye River Social, which is also in Grandview.
And will you have that on your social sites and websites where everybody can find all the detail?
Yeah, Echo Spirits on Facebook and Instagram. It's all out there.
All right. So the Straight Rye Whiskey from Echo Spirits available as we speak. It sounds like it's a hit.
It's a buy for sure, guys.
I trust the palates of these two gentlemen here, John Whitney and Greg Hansberry. I like to think that over the last couple of years on Whiskey Business, that they've learned a few things about what to look for. So I trust them implicitly. And again, thank you for being patient and waiting for us to get to you. I look forward to seeing you guys again live and in person and getting a walk through the joint and seeing everything. Much success as you go on further. I'm glad you're surviving everything that's crazy in this world of COVID right now. And I think and I hope that all of us will come out on top before it's all said and done. So thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. Many, many thanks to Joe and to Derek and to Nikhil. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Best of luck with everything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Check them out, man. 984 West 6th Street, Echo Spirits. My name is Dino Tripodis. You've been listening to Whiskey Business, a Never the Luck production produced on the audio side by Greg Hansberry. Remind them where to go and what to do, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for checking out Whiskey Business. Subscribe and rate and review us on your favorite podcasting app, whatever that is, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, TuneIn, all the big shot ones, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Thank you for watching us Facebook Live if you're watching us right now. YouTube. Also, you can watch all of the episodes there. Whiskeybusinesspod.com, where you've got some blogs. You've got all of our award-winning archived episodes. And share. I mean, grassroots effort, share with your podcast-loving friends and your whiskey-loving friends. And
I'll freeze
all the degenerates.
Yeah, he froze up. I noticed that he had Barry Manilow in the background for his album today. I asked him for a Tony Bennett album because yesterday was Tony Bennett's 94th birthday. But
you hear me?
Apparently,
I love Beagles.
Yeah, that's not a Tony Bennett album. Not hardly. That's the best
Tony
you can do.
And Barry Manilow.
Yeah, both the same. It's all the same, right? Apparently, I got some work to do in that department. Also, many thanks to John Whitney on the video side, who makes everything happen and makes our YouTube videos look spectacular. You can check out.
I push buttons.
I push buttons. And our current one with Buster Douglas. Check that one out. When the odds are against you, bet on you. We had an amazing chat with the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Buster Douglas, last week, and that is available on YouTube as we speak. We get into a lot of stuff. His whiskey, 42-1, which is out and available, but also into his life, his career, his family, where his head was when he was fighting Tyson, where his head wasn't when he fought Holyfield to try to retain the championship. It's an amazing, fascinating conversation with the former heavyweight champion of the world. So you can check that out wherever you get your favorite podcast if you want to listen to it, but it's also available on YouTube. And I don't want to make an empty promise, but if everything goes according to plan, next week on Whiskey Business, we might be doing our own version of a drive-in movie.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that as we put the pieces together for you to tune in on Facebook Live and on YouTube and watch a very strange, bizarre, fun movie that we can all laugh at and have fun with for an hour. So hopefully we're going to put the drive-in movie experience together for Whiskey Business. Again, many thanks to Joe, Nikhil, and Derek from Echo Spirits for joining us. Thank you, gentlemen. Again, continued success with everything. Hope to see bigger and even better things from you in the months, weeks, and years to come. On behalf of everybody here at Whiskey Business, my name is Dino Tripodis, and until the next bottle, see ya.
You want to do a quick tease before I pull us offline there?
Sure, I can do that.
All right.
Is it just us right now?
Well, it's you by yourself. So
Yeah,
it's a solo. Go ahead and do it.
All right. Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis. Tonight on Whiskey Business, a new straight rye whiskey hits the shelves, and it comes from Columbus, Ohio. No, I don't want to do that. Let me try that again. Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis. Tonight on Whiskey Business, Echo Spirits is right here in Columbus, Ohio, and they unveil something brand new tonight on Whiskey Business.